Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Well, hey guys, welcome. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur, and you are tuned into the JMOR Tech Talk Show. It is Friday, December 13th, 2024. Can't believe we have just 2 more weeks left in December, and the month is basically over. Forget about December being over. We've got basically 3 weeks from this past Wednesday, and we'll be in 2025. Check that out. All right, why don't you go grab yourself something delicious and yummy, whether it's something healthy, whether it's something sweet, whether it's water, whether it's a cup of tea, like I've got my nice hot cup of decaf tea here. Absolutely delicious and warm and hot. So go ahead and grab that. We'll get started. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on series number 3, in case you didn't know that. Yeah, we're on series number 3. And tonight's show is having the title Tech Turmoil and Innovation, the headline shaping our future. Series 3, show number 51. Tech Wars, Scams, and Smart Solutions. A week of headlines you just can't afford to miss. This week's episode of the JMOR Tech Talk Show is going to be packed with everything you need to know about the latest tech news, innovations, and ongoing battles shaping our digital future. From TikTok's looming sale mandate to Apple's rivalry with Qualcomm, the drama never stops. Dive into the newest tech trends, the latest updates on AI, cybersecurity, and more. So don't miss out on these headlines. Grab that cup of coffee, grab that snack or beverage, and come and join me for the headline stories that are going to be shaking up the world. All right. Well, the first one we're going to kick off with is the U.S. Appeals Court regarding TikTok. Yes, the U.S. Appeals Court backs TikTok sale mandate. A U.S. Appeals Court upheld a law requiring TikTok's Chinese buyer, ByteDance, to sell the company to an American buyer by January 19, 2025, or face a nationwide ban. The ruling aims to protect U.S. national security and citizens' data from potential misuse by foreign adversaries. TikTok criticized the decision as a censorship based on flawed information and plans to appeal to the Supreme Court. With over 170 million American users, TikTok's future is now, yes, in the U.S., hinging on compliance or a legal victory. The case has drawn political attention, including newly elected President Donald Trump's vow to address the issue. But what's really going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, is TikTok going to close in the U.S.? It's one step closer to being banned, ladies and gentlemen. One step. And TikTok has lost its challenge to a law that will force the company to sell its prized social media asset or face a ban in the United States that will go through on the date of January 19th, 2025. I mean, right after that date is when it's going to happen, because they can't be open on the 20th. They can't be open. So, of course, they're all mad and upset, but we know that the Chinese doesn't always do things that's, let's just say, above board. So, I don't know. I mean, I know I have some followers on TikTok. If they shut TikTok down tomorrow, life would still go on, and I'd still have plenty of followers on other channels. But TikTok's a very interesting creature. They don't allow you to post certain things, not whether they're good or bad. They don't like any controversy. So that's a big problem, ladies and gentlemen. And another news story that I think you'd like to hear about is Apple eyes the 3-year modem rollout to rival Qualcomm. Yes, Apple plans to introduce its long-awaited cellular modem chip starting next year, aiming to phase out Qualcomm components by 2027, according to Bloomberg. These modems will debut in the iPhone SE and gradually advance across Apple's product line. The shift follows Apple's $1 billion acquisition of Intel modem units in 2019, an ongoing set of efforts to develop in-house technology. Qualcomm, which has a supply agreement with Apple until 2026, anticipates revenue impacts and is diversifying into laptops and AI data centers. Apple has also partnered with Broadcom for 5G components, which may challenge other suppliers like Skyworks and Qorvo. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with this. But, we've got other things happening, like Donald Trump is going to be imposing the 40% tariff from anything that comes outside of the United States. And the reason he's doing this is he's hoping that it will motivate people to make things in the United States, because 40% is a pretty high tariff. And that's going to have to be passed on to distributors and also to, businesses and end users that are purchasing all types of products, whether we're talking about laptops, whether we're talking about certain clothing. That's going to really hike up the price. So we're going to have to just wait and see what's going to happen there, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, Verizon will raise their fees again. Yes, they will. Verizon will raise its fees again. Verizon is increasing its monthly administrative and quote-unquote telco recovery charge by 20 cents per line starting December 18th. That's happening soon, raising the fee to $3.50 for voice lines and $1.60 for data lines. The small hike follows a larger increase in recent years and continues the trend of separating fees from base rates, potentially to obscure overall price hikes. Critics argue this practice allows wireless carriers to pad profits, as Verizon reported a $3.4 billion in net income in Q3 2024, a decline from the $4.9 billion the previous year. Verizon's home internet services are not affected by these price increases at the current time. So the question you're probably asking, do people care that Verizon is raising their bill for wireless care? Do people care? Some people care. Some people are annoyed about the principle. But I think most people feel that it's something that they don't really want to worry too much about. But it is annoying some, but it's not causing, like an anarchy or anything like that. And, they're doing it because of a mandate. Basically, their prices are getting raised. So just passing that on. But I don't know. We're going to have to see what happens, right? Between them and also the United States Postal Service raising fees. This is a pretty big thing. And so, the U.S. Postal Service says they're staying competitive. They say they offer great values. And you might be saying, gee, when are postage rates going up? Well, they are supposed to be changing very soon. The USPS raises the stamp price, right? They're saying now 5 times through 2027. So, the thing about it is that the July 2025 hike, they're outlining a plan for a twice yearly increase. It wasn't enough that they're increasing it once. I remember when they didn't increase it at all. January and July for both 2026 and 2027. So the July 2024 5-cent increase for the first class stamp tied to the record for the biggest hike ever and followed a 2-cent increase in January. Before that, postage prices rose in July 2023, January 2023, and July 2022. Between the 1970s and 2000, rates increased 3 to 4 times a decade. So the question really is, are they doing anything with this price increase? Is it just going to pad somebody's retirement account, 401k? I mean, is there really a reason why they should raise the prices? And the big picture is stamp inflation. It's known as stampflation, quote unquote. And it's been affecting stamp prices over the last couple of years. But my concern is, it's probably going to be cheaper to pick up the phone and call someone than it is going to be to mail. Used to be cheaper to mail someone, but now it's going to probably be cheaper to pick up the phone and call them. I have a concern, and that is, do you think the USPS should be raising postage prices, so much? And I would probably say the answer is no, you don't think they should do this. So the Canadian post offices are supposedly raising even more than we are. But the question is, are we getting any more value? They also say that mail delivered to some rural areas could get slower because of the inability to staff people and not having the funds. So the question I ask is, what is the USPS doing with the extra, let's call it the extra stamp revenue? And, they're basically putting it toward, they want to cut their costs. They're planning to cut $5 billion in costs. They claim that they're running out of cash. They're grappling to be able to operate. So the question is, will the USPS ever become a private entity and not, federally managed or run? The USPS raised the price of a first-class stamp from 66 cents to 68 cents on January 21st. So in 2023, the mail volume fell by 42% between 2007 and 2020. Total mail revenue during the same period fell $60.6 billion in 2007 to $38.7 billion in 2020, a 36% drop. The trend's going to continue, and I can tell you why. 4 or 5 years ago, we switched over to all electronic books, and we really don't mail anything out anymore. So I think that's a really big reason. I think if the post office wants to be profitable, they've got to look at other ways of getting messages across. And that's not the post office. Maybe they need to come out with their own social media. I don't know. But I know that the mail is not as popular as it once was for a lot of things. So we'll have to just keep the tabs and see what's going on. And Amazon, ladies and gentlemen, successfully tests delivery drones in Italy. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Amazon has successfully completed its first drone delivery test in Italy, marking the country's first trial of the e-commerce giant's Prime Air service. The test took place in San Salvo, located in central Abruzzo region, on December 4th, ladies and gentlemen, 2024, using the Amazon's MK-30 drone. This test is part of Amazon's plans to launch drone deliveries in Italy and Britain in late 2024, which is what they have done. The company is working with the Italian authorities to meet regulatory requirements for services official launch next year. The drones use advanced computer vision technology to safely navigate and avoid obstacles ensuring the safety of people, property, and other aircraft. I still feel there is going to be, and I could be wrong, there will be a new insurance that I think homes and businesses will have to have called drone insurance. And, I don't think it's going to be a hefty bill. I think it might be something like, it could be $18, $20, but it's going to be something new because if something goes wrong with that particular drone, right, it could crash into your roof, causing thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars of damage, depending on what home or what property it hits, right? So I think that's a really serious problem. And we're just going to have to keep an eye on what's going on. But they're going to test this out over there, and then they're going to try to do this in the U.S. And not too long ago, actually last week, there was a system outage that disrupted vehicle licensing in Washington. A brief system outage impacted vehicle licensing offices across Washington state. Yes, on Thursday last week, disrupting payment processing for about 2 hours. The Washington State Department of Licensing confirmed the issue, which began before 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, stemmed from a server problem and only affected the vehicle licensing unit. Services were fully restored by 4:28 p.m. Pacific time. It affected offices such as the one in Seattle's Ballard neighborhood, and they posted signs notifying customers of the statewide disruption. So it's interesting. I think the two entities that sometimes struggle is the post office and the DMV. But, the DMV doesn't struggle. I don't think they struggle because, you see, everyone drives, right? And so if they decided they were going to charge $10 more per license, people have to pay it, or they wouldn't be able to drive, right? It's very, very simple. All right. And in other news, Redmond Snowplow gets a geeky makeover. How about this? Control, Salt, Delete. I didn't say Alt, I said Salt. Residents of Redmond, Washington, have humorously named the city Snowplow, Control, Salt, Delete, in a public contest celebrating the area's tech culture and Microsoft headquarters. Other winning names include Scoop Dog and Snow Begone. Kenobi. Over 580 participants suggested 482 names, with city staff narrowing them to 14 finalists for voting. The names will be displayed on plows, and Redmond plans to launch a live plow tracking map this winter. The city uses liquid calcium deicer to prevent ice and various mixtures for effective snow removal, showcasing a blend of tech-savvy wit and practical community planning. Yes, pretty cool name. Control, Salt, Delete. I actually think that's pretty cool. And diving back in, ladies and gentlemen, to Microsoft. Yes, so Microsoft urges the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, to address the alleged info leak amid the antitrust probe. Microsoft has asked the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, to investigate an alleged leak of confidential information regarding an antitrust investigation into the company. Microsoft's Deputy General Counsel, Rima Alidi, sent an email to the FTC Inspector General claiming the company learned about the information request through a Bloomberg article. Despite not receiving a formal legal document, Alali urged the FTC to examine whether its management improperly leaked information, violating agency's ethics rules. The investigation reportedly involves various aspects of Microsoft's business, including cloud computing and AI partnerships. This comes amid a broader concern, which is over increasing unauthorized disclosures at the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. And ladies and gentlemen, our friends at Meta, with their company Instagram, they're blocking third-party app developers. Meta's recent changes to its developer tools have impacted third-party consumer apps that previously integrated with Instagram, such as Tinder, Hinge, and the journaling app Day One. These apps relied on the Instagram Basic Display API, which Meta discontinued on December 4th, 2024, not too long ago. As a result, Day One can no longer import Instagram content into its journals, and other services like Discord and Spotlight have also been affected. The new Instagram API now only works for business accounts, rendering personal account integrations unavailable. This change disrupts features that many users, including day ones, premium subscribers, had relied on. So, the question is, what's going to happen? I think people are going to have to adapt, or the developers are going to have to come up with a new way. Otherwise, well, they're not going to be able to integrate with Instagram. Never realized there were so many people that integrated with Instagram, not just in the social world. And Amazon is up at bat again. Amazon faces a lawsuit. Ladies and gentlemen, it faces a lawsuit over slow deliveries to low-income areas. Amazon is facing a lawsuit from the District of Columbia's Attorney General, accusing the company of secretly halting its fastest delivery service for two low-income zip codes, 20019 and 2020, while continually charging nearly 50,000 Prime members the full subscription price. Amazon reportedly switched from using its own branded trucks to third-party services like UPS and the USPS, which, of course, resulted in slower deliveries. The lawsuit alleges Amazon violated consumer protection laws by failing to disclose the change to customers who experienced significant delays compared to other DC residents. Amazon claims the change was due to safety concerns for its drivers, but the Attorney General argues that the company must provide the service that it has promised. Ooh, I would not want to be Amazon. Tim Cook from Apple, well, he aims to save your life. Tim Cook recently outlined his vision for Apple's future, focusing on the company's growing role in health technology and its potential to improve lives through innovation. As Apple explores its AI capabilities with initiatives like Apple Intelligence, Cook emphasized that privacy will remain a central pillar of the company's approach, with many AI features designed to function directly on user devices, such as the ones relying on the cloud. So that's a big change for them, that they're going to be doing things locally. The Apple Watch's life-saving health monitoring features reflect this commitment to health. Cook also touched on the fact that Apple's collaboration with Deep AI will be to enhance user experiences while ensuring that AI advancements prioritize safety and ethical standards. Looking ahead, Cook sees Apple becoming a major player in the health sector, pushing boundaries in technology while safeguarding privacy. So I think it's interesting, where Apple's going. Apple wants to be in the healthcare space, and it's something that I didn't envision for them, but it's where they want to go. And they're building this whole ecosystem of products to be bold in the healthcare space. And so, beyond just the watch and the applications ecosystem, Apple pushes forward with healthcare. They are working with Vision Pro, the augmented virtual reality device that can be used, by companies. And it was recently released. The goal behind the Vision Pro is to seamlessly blend digital content with a user's physical space. So Apple is making some strides. I think a lot of people don't understand where they're going. And I think even the AI world, a lot of people don't understand what it means. That's the issue. I think if people were able to really get a clue of what's happening, I think they would approach it differently. They would approach it much, much differently. And ladies and gentlemen, Google sues the CFPB, that is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, because they have placed the Google Payment Corp under federal Supervision due to concerns over its fraud prevention and error resolution processes related to Google Pay. Complaints from consumers highlighted issues with fraud investigations and inadequate explanations of outcomes, which Google disputes in a lawsuit aimed at blocking the oversight. Google argues that the federal intervention is excessive, and particularly as the peer-to-peer payment service has already been discontinued. While the CFPB supervision does not imply wrongdoing, the company is challenging the decision in court. So if you've been noticing or been following Google lately, Google's been getting in a lot of trouble, right? You know, everyone thinks that Google can do no wrong because they have so much money. But what we're starting to learn with a lot of these big tech companies is they're being brought down. And when they start making a problem or when they have an issue, everything is brought down to size. And I think that's a big issue. They're having to really be careful about what they're doing. And I think if we can take a look at that and be mindful, then hopefully we will be able to move forward in the right way. And I think, what the CFPB is doing is not wrong. I mean, let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, Google has not actually had an innocent record. Not to go into all the different things, but I mean, they have had issues. And so now that Google is going to sue them, it's crazy. I quote what they said here. This is a clear case of government overreach involving Google Pay peer-to-peer payments, which never raised risks and is no longer provided in the United States, and we're challenging it in court, close quote. This was Google spokesperson Jose Castienda. So I think a lot of people don't realize that Google's not the best search engine anymore. I mean, they did a lot of wrong things, not to get into that on this show. But we've talked about this before, right? And so it's interesting. But the reason that the CFPB is getting involved, so that you know, is because they've gotten many consumer complaints. So, playing devil's advocate here, right? If Google wants to challenge this, my issue would be, why are there so many consumer complaints against Google about their payment processing? If they were really innocent, right, then those wouldn't exist. It was one or two, fine. But I think that is a big problem. And so I know that they just try to sneak things under the wire. I mean, that's what they do. They try to sneak things under the wire. And when they sneak things under the wire, they believe that no one's going to really know. But the truth of the matter is, Google has done so many things to, let's say, be dishonest. And I'm not going to get into every piece. I think most people don't understand. Okay. And people don't get the one thing, and that is the fact that, Google has done some wrong stuff. Okay. And so, they haven't really come clean on this stuff. They have not. And because they have not come clean on it, then it's going to be an issue. And how do we know? How can we even trust these people? How? How can we trust them? I think if people realize that being to the top of Google or being to the top of TikTok, it might seem like what you want, but at the end of the day, it may not be. It may not be. So, another interesting story is batteries. Well, why are thermal batteries in our world now may be replaced seeing lithium-ion for energy storage? So why? Well, thermal batteries, which store excess electricity as heat in materials like bricks or graphite, are gaining attention as potential alternatives to lithium-ion batteries for energy storage. Companies like Rondo Energy and Antora Energy are at the forefront of this innovation, using heat storage systems to power industries such as steel and cement. By 2027, Rondo aims to produce enough thermal batteries to cut 12 million tons of CO2 emissions annually. Despite challenges in scaling production and market adoptions, thermal batteries could play a key role in decarbonizing industrial manufacturing and enabling renewable energy storage. That's pretty big, right? I think people, again, need to be educated about things, okay? And so this is a huge concern. Now, I'm not sure where Rondo is out of, where their location is, but I can tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. If they are not in the United States, they're going to get hit with a 40% surcharge. And it looks like it said this 75 million pound project. They're in Europe. So doesn't matter what they save us. We've got to be producing things in our own country. Now, that's not to be selfish. That's because we need to put the jobs back into the United States. There's nothing wrong with buying something once in a while overseas, but we just got too out of hand with buying everything. And Amazon is the worst culprit for it. I mean, they just bring all this stuff in so dirt cheap, and half the stuff breaks 2 to 3 days or a week or 6 months. I had a client of mine that I talked to the other day, and they bought one of these devices that you sit on the counter, and it basically is supposed to do your pasta for you and shred it. So she bought this unit, and after 6 months, it stopped working. I bought a cookie press, the cookie press guns. Well, every 2 years I have to buy a new one. So about 2 years ago, I bought one from Italy. It was supposed to be like a really top-end professional press gun. It was all manual, solid stainless steel. And I had the gun for about a year and a half, 2 years. And it broke. So I called them up. They had an 800 number in Italy. Got somebody that spoke English. And I explained to them. And he goes, "Oh, senor." He goes, "It has a limited lifetime warranty." Excuse me. Limited lifetime warranty. Well, what do you mean limited lifetime? It's limited lifetime. But I tell you what we do for you, sir. We give you 20% off. The new ones are $150. We'll give you 20% off on any of the new ones. And you just pay that, and you pay shipping. So, if you take $150, ladies and gentlemen, and you take off 20%, that's $120. Plus, it's $18.50 for shipping. Now, with Mr. Trump's new requirement, you add 40% on that. It's going to cost $193.90. I hope this is going to make you think about buying things overseas. We really need to be buying things in the United States and making things in the United States. Michigan Democrats safeguard reproductive health data ahead of the GOP control. Michigan Democrats are pushing for new legislation to protect reproductive health data, particularly from menstrual cycle tracking apps, before Republicans take control of the state House in 2025. The bill is backed by Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer and seeks to safeguard this data from being misused, especially in the wake of concerns about privacy after the Roe versus Wade reversal. So pretty interesting there, right? The legislation would require explicit consent for sharing reproductive health data and would regulate the use of geofencing, which targets consumers based on location. While some Republicans oppose the bill, arguing it limits free speech, Democrats are racing against time to pass these measures before the upcoming shift in political power. So this is very interesting. And, when we hear, the Supreme Court overturns the Roe versus Wade um, issue, which basically reversed the right to abortion, which was reversed basically on June 24th. They overturned it. The decision, most of which was leaked in the early May, meant that the abortion rights will be rolled back in nearly half of the states immediately, with more restrictions likely to follow. For practical purposes, abortion will not be available in large swaths of the country. The decision may well mean, too, that the court itself, as well as the abortion question, will become a focal point in the upcoming elections in the future. And I think, what they're doing here with preserving your data and stuff like that, but we shouldn't be selling data like that, and a lot of people are doing that. I got to tell you, one of my big pet peeves is the people that go on LinkedIn, and I'm very close to changing my email to like my personal email, not my corporate one, because so many people scrape that email, and that's a big problem. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Fox News loses the bid for Smartmatic records in the Philippines bribery case. Fox News lost its attempt to obtain records from Smartmatic related to a bribery case involving the company's co-founder, Roger Pilate, accused of bribing a Philippine election official. The case linked to Smartmatic's effort to secure business in the Philippines is unrelated to the company's defamation lawsuit against Fox, and Smartmatic is suing Fox for $2.7 billion, claiming its reputation was damaged by false election fraud reports aired by Fox News in 2020. Judge David Cohen ruled that the bribery case was irrelevant to the defamation suit, denying Fox's request for documents. So, everything's about money and political power, unfortunately. And until an example is set, everyone thinks they can just do this. I'm waiting for a huge fine to be hit for people to use these applications to just scan. Now, I'm not saying to use it out of the blue, but some of these people, they just go and they grab information. There was a guy today who I use Nomo Robo on my phones, and it had blocked the call. Then he emails me right after. And I knew he got the information from LinkedIn. I just knew it. And so I emailed back, told him how this is really illegal. And then I called him and I let him know that this is unethical. And, just to go, let's say, scraping a profile and then just emailing me. I mean, that was just like so below the belt. And he was very nice. He was like, okay, I got it. Okay, thank you. Yep, you're right. And he knew what he was doing was wrong. He knew it. There's some people that, are real terrible. But this person, like I could tell he cared about what was going on. And so that's a cool thing. So we'll have to just see what's happening. I think a lot of people don't know what's been going on with this, but I can tell you right now, like what's happened with Fox and all these other news things. I submitted an article. Many of you don't know that I'm a member of the international press now, 8 years. And my stories are not always about, I don't want things to lead just because they bleed. I want them to lead because they have true merit. I think some people don't understand that when something leads and bleeds, that's just one way, right? But it also means that there's a lot of unethical things happening and that the stories are being manipulated as propaganda, and it's not truth. It's not truth. Everyone's always trying to figure a way around something. If they could pay more money, if they could do a favor for somebody, they're always trying to figure some way out of something. I think that's a big, big problem. Like a really, really big problem. One that I believe most people don't quite understand. And it's the whole concept of being ethical, right? Being ethical. That's what it's about. I think it's important to understand that when people do something for the wrong reasons, it causes issues. It may not right away, but it can have very devastating effects. I mean, let's look at this whole thing, what's going on right now with the country buying from all these other foreign places, right? This didn't happen overnight. This happened over time because people in our country were too lazy to build and design what they want. So what did they do? They went to other countries because those people said, you know what? America's too lazy to do what they need. So we're going to build it for them and we're going to make a profit. Oh, and we're not going to build it with the highest quality. We're going to build it so it lasts just a few years. So we're going to make things that look really beautiful on the outside. But when you take them apart and look at the engineering, you're probably going to want to regurgitate. I could not believe when I took apart a surge protector that was supposed to be totally UL raid and everything, and it was. When I took it apart just to see what it was like, the wire grade was crap inside. And they were passing this off as an approved UL appliance. I'm like, are they nuts? So the standards in Europe are supposedly higher than ours, but I got to tell you something. In these foreign countries, they have different standards, right? I mean, do they have UL listing in China? It's different. It's absolutely, absolutely different. UL certification is different. They have a standard for lithium batteries. They have a standard for general use snap switches, general requirements for battery-powered appliances, standard for vehicle battery adapters, standard for robots and robotic equipment, standard for LED sign and sign retrofit kits. Are there different types of UL certifications? Yes, UL can apply to either a product or a manufacturer. So UL verifies that a manufacturer can produce a product according to a UL standard. UL follows up with the supplier from time to time, but doesn't test each SKU or batch. However, sourcing a UL listed supplier is the best option for startups and small scale importers. UL recognition applies to machines and other more complex products or components. A UL recognized supplier can put the UL mark on their parts. UL classification certifies that a certain product is compliant with UL standards. Is UL listing or certification mandatory when importing, let's say from Asia? No, compliance with UL standards is not mandatory in the sense that you are not required by law to follow them. When it comes to importing electronics to the United States, it's up to the importer to ensure that the product is safe. One way to achieve that is by following a certain standard, be it one developed by UL or another organization. That being said, UL is the de facto set of mandatory electronic safety standards in the United States. For example, Amazon requires all sellers of hoverboards to submit UL compliance documents for lithium batteries or face permanent suspension. It's the same thing when it comes to retailers. They will not even consider your product unless it's UL certified or at least listed. At the end of the day, you need to be sure that your product is safe. So why not just go with the UL listed suppliers? It's going to be more money, but you don't want to play. It's kind of like playing with ink that's not really the manufacturer's ink, right? The viscosity is different. Let's say the components that make up the ink are different, and they might even wind up jamming up your printer. So, how do I know if a supplier can produce UL certified products? The good thing is that many manufacturers, now they're saying in China, are relatively familiar with the standards, and quite a few in Shenzhen are UL listed. In fact, they tend to either refer to European Union directives, low voltage directives, or ROHS or UL standards. While many electronics can technically comply with UL standards given that they receive the PCB drawings, writing diagrams, and a bill of materials, BOM, you should only consider suppliers that have manufactured UL compliant products. The best way to do it is by asking them to provide a UL certificate or test report that you later verify directly with UL. How long does it take to get a UL products certified or listed? About 6 months. How much does it cost to get a product UL certified? $5,000 to $15,000. Okay. So I know that producing things in the United States costs more money. I get it. But it's going to be a lot better to do that, ladies and gentlemen, than to try to buy things overseas from China and now get hit with that 40% fee. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's been a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you here on the JMOR Tech Talk Show. I do want to take this opportunity to wish you happy, healthy holidays. Of course, I'll see you before the holidays, but I do want to invite you to visit BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations, and I'll catch you guys real soon, all right? Take care, everyone.